Hi, Mr. Wright here. This is a film in which I run through 8 IGCSE trigonometry questions. Now, these are all questions from higher IGCSE papers, but they're more straightforward questions than some. So, these questions are the easier ones on trig, which appear on Edexcel IGCSE higher papers. You can download the questions by clicking the link in the description, have a go at the questions, and then you can watch me doing the questions and check your own. Or, of course, you can watch the film while you're doing the questions and work alongside me. Absolutely up to you. I hope you find the film useful. Let me know how you get on in the comments. Question 1. Okay. I have got the adjacent here and the hypotenuse. I can see it's going to be cos. And I'm finding the adjacent. So the adjacent is going to be cos the angle multiplied by the hypotenuse. So x is going to be cos 42 times 9.5 on my calculator, and that's 7.0598. And so to one decimal place, the answer is 7.1. Question 2. Right, I've got a large right-angled triangle here, and I've got a smaller right-angled triangle, and I'm being asked to work out this length here, the length of CD. Now, if only I knew this angle, which I'll call alpha, then I could simply use this bottom right-angled triangle here, which has got alpha and 8 as the adjacent, and CD I could call x, and then I could find x by using tan if only I knew the angle alpha. Now let's have a look at the big triangle. The larger triangle here has got a base of 8 and it's got a hypotenuse there of 14. Now I could find this larger angle here, which by the way is that one. I could do that by using cos. And then once I know that large angle, which I'll call y, once I know that larger angle, then I can take away 38 from it, and then I'd know the smaller angle. So let's use this large red triangle to find y. So cos of y is going to be the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So on my calculator, I'm going to do 8 divided by 14 equals, and then press shift cos. And that tells me that a large angle is 55.15. So that's this large angle here. So that means that I can find alpha now. That smaller angle is going to be 51.15 minus 38. So the smaller angle is, what is that, 17.15. Right, so now I know that angle there is 17.15, and I can use tan in this triangle to find the opposite. The opposite x is going to be tan the angle, tan 17.15 times 8. Tan the angle times the adjacent, which gives me 2.468, and I'm asked to give my answer correct to 3 significant figures, so the answer is 2.47. Question 3. I've got a large isosceles triangle. N is the midpoint of the base there, look, and BN is perpendicular to AC. I know N's the midpoint because it's an isosceles triangle. Okay, so I've got 2 right angle triangles, one on the left and one on the right, I can see, and I'm being asked to work out the perimeter of triangle ABC. Well, I already know that from A to N is 9.3, and then that's another 9.3 there. So the lengths that I need to find are these lengths here, that length and that length. Well, each of those lengths are the same, aren't they? And I could find them by looking at one of these right angled triangles. I'm going to consider the one on the left, which looks like this. I've got A and N, 9.3, and that angle is 38, and I'm trying to find that length there. Right, well, I can use cos for that, and I'm trying to find the hypotenuse, so x, the hypotenuse, will be the adjacent divided by cos 38. So that length x on my calculator works out to be, so that length works out on my calculator to be 11.801 and so on. So the perimeter of my triangle is going to be the base, 9.3 times 2, and then I'm going to have 11.801 plus another 11.801. That's the perimeter of the triangle there, which on my calculator works out to be 42.203 and so on. So giving my answer correct to 3 significant figures, the answer is 42.2. Question 4. I've got a right angled triangle here. I need to work out the value of x. X is the hypotenuse here, and 6.5 is the opposite. I'm going to be using sine, and I'm being asked to find the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse x will be the opposite divided by sine 42. So on my calculator, that gives me 9.714 and so on. Giving my answer correct to 1 decimal place, my answer is simply 9.7. Question 5. I need to work out the length of the side AB in this triangle. It's often easier if you then label the side you're looking for x if it's not already labelled, because now I can see more easily that I'm trying to find the opposite, and I know the hypotenuse. So looking at this triangle here, this is going to be sine, and I'm trying to find the opposite. So the opposite x will be sine 65 multiplied by 8.4. Okay, on my calculator I get 7.6129, and I'm asked to give my answer to correct to 3 significant figures. So the answer is going to be 7.61. Question 6. Right, let's zoom in here and have a proper look. Right, now the text here describes all the information shown on the diagram. Okay, so you'll want to read that through and check that everything's on the diagram, which it is. And we're being asked to calculate the size of angle BAC. BAC, we're being asked to find that angle there, which I'll call alpha. Now, we're going to need to make a plan. We're not going to be able to do it in one step. So let's have a look at this diagram. Now, alpha isn't part of a right angled triangle. Alpha is part of the top triangle there, which doesn't have a right angle. So you need to think about what to do here. What could I find? I suppose if I look at the bottom triangle, I could find that side there, and then I could find the whole of this side here, and then, crikey, I could find the whole of this big angle by using the big triangle, and then I could take 20 from the big angle to get alpha. Right, there's a plan. So let's start off by using the bottom triangle to find the length CD. Okay, so here's the bottom triangle. It's always helpful to draw the triangle that you're looking at, because then it helps you just concentrate on doing one thing at a time. So that's 20, that's 13, and I'll call CDX. Right, I'm going to use 10, and I'll go that the opposite, which is x, is going to be 10, 20 times 13. Okay, well, tan 20 times 13 on my calculator is 4.73, and so on. So now I could look at this larger triangle. So the larger triangle has got a base of 13. It's got a height, which I'll work out in a minute, and it's got this angle here. Okay, this time I'll call that angle y. Now, what's the height of this large triangle here? What's that length? Well, it's the 4.73 plus the 8, 12.73. Right, use that red triangle to find y. I'm going to be using tan, and tan y will be the opposite divided by the adjacent. So on my calculator, I'm going to do 12.73 divided by 13 equals, and then use shift tan. And that tells me that that angle there is 44.40, and so on. Right, so this whole angle here is 44. So that means that I can now find that angle alpha. Okay, so alpha is going to be the whole angle, 44.40 and so on, minus the 20. So the answer to the question is 24.40 and so on. And so to one decimal place, the size of that angle is 24.4 degrees. Question 7. Right, I've got a right angle triangle here, and I'm asked to find the angle x. Now, what have I got here? I've got the opposite, and I've got the adjacent. And I can see that I'm going to use tan. So tan of the angle, tan x, is going to be the opposite divided by the adjacent. Sorry, I've written tan alpha there. That's right, tan x, right? Okay, so that means on my calculator, I'm going to do 3.4 divided by 4.7, and then press inverse tan. And that gives me an answer for tan of 35.882 and so on. And I'm asked to give the answer to one decimal place. So the answer I'm going to give is 35.9. And that is question 7. Question 8. Okay, here's my right angle triangle. Now let's have a look at these. That's x is the hypotenuse, isn't it? Which is what I'm being asked to find. And there's the adjacent there. So I'm going to be using cos, so ca, there we are, and I'm asked to find the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse x is going to be the adjacent 12.6 divided by cos 52. Okay, I'll put that in my calculator, and I get 20.465 and so on. And I'm asked to give the answer correct to 3 significant figures. So the answer I'm going to give is 20.5 centimeters for x. Mr. Right here, well done for making it through to the end of those 8 questions. I hope you found the film useful. Remember, these questions are more straightforward questions than some on trigonometry. So later on in this playlist, you will find some more trigonometry questions from IGCSE papers. You'll find some trigonometry questions which are still 2 dimensions, but involve a bit more problem solving. And you'll also find a film on 3D trigonometry questions, and also a film on using the sine rule and cosine rule, and also the area formula for trig. So there's lots more on this playlist for you to work your way through if you would find that helpful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next film.